So mine is news that everyone knows by now, and I wanted this is not so much news, but something that I wanted to talk about with you guys because it's still a popular topic.
Okay,
Do
okay.
you think?
Spill the beans.
Do you think they should recast T'Challa or not?
Personally,
You know what? First off, shout out Asian action actor. Okay, check out Noel's channel.
Thank you very
Does
much.
awesome reviews.
I wasn't fishing, but thank you.
No, hey, you don't have to fish. I jump on the boat. Like, I just jump right in the boat. But I'm like an Asian carp.
Asian carp.
but the point I'm making is I watched your video about this, and I was sitting there watching.
Dude, I was legit sad when I shot that. I hope
no, it was awesome. It was well
I hope
done.
That went through.
Yeah, you did, but you gave a controversial theory.
Yeah, I realize that it's not a popular opinion.
But okay, I'll give you the spoiler.
Because the thing is, I gotta be honest. You can't do this sort of thing and just be disingenuous because you get found out pretty quick if you're like just bandwagoning all the time.
Hold on, let me tell the audience that hasn't seen your video, and shout out. We'll put a link to his video in the description.
Oh, thank you very much.
He basically proposed possibly, recasting T'Challa because T'Challa has so much history. And I think, of course, that's why they cast the Black Panther T'Challa, because T'Challa has the longest run and the most award-winning run in the Black Panther franchise. And when he said, I think they should recast it for the character's sake, because the character, not Chadwick Boseman, but the character itself, because there's two entities that died in pop culture. There was Chadwick Boseman, the actual person, and the bringing to life of T'Challa, the Black Panther from the comics. Yeah. So, I mean, one is an actual person, and we don't want to cheapen that. But the other one is a character that made the highest grossing movie of all time. So you have to separate them. But when you're talking about pop culture, it's a huge blow. It's like saying Indiana Jones died.
That's why we're still talking about this.
Right. It's like, oh, you mean Harrison Ford? It's like, yeah, Harrison Ford died, and that's horrible. But we also, on the fantasy side, Indiana Jones is dead. It's like, but we only did Indiana Jones 1. There's still so much story to tell. So I understand the logic behind saying we should recast them, because there is just such rich, fertile ground, very profitable, very beloved. But I think Chadwick Boseman, just like RDJ, vibed so fully with the character that it's like when like those conjoined twins, and like the first thing when you get like conjoined twins at the head, you have to act yourself as like a surgeon. Can we separate them without killing them both? And I think that's the problem with Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa. They're so perfectly fused, like RDJ and Iron Man. RDJ wanted to get out of Iron Man multiple times, as rumors report.
After the third one.
Yeah.
Right. He was like, I'm done. But the problem was they couldn't recast him in any way, shape, or form, because he was so fused with the character. So I think that's the problem. And I think it's sad. It makes the loss of Chadwick Boseman even more hard-hitting, because people that didn't know Chadwick Boseman from his previous work, like in the Black community, telling stories that hadn't been told, and they only knew him through Black Panther, or they're Black Panther fans that found the best, like the RDJ dream fusion. They can't separate it. Like you'll be like killing it twice, by recasting. It'll be too, the suspension of disbelief would be too much if there's a different guy that's like, I'm Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa. They'd be like, oh, hell no. People would start vomiting. Like, it would be like spontaneous vomiting. Like, ah.
I do agree with you.
Wendell?
Personally, I only speak for myself, but I cannot see T'Challa, the character, being recasted at all. I can only, and somebody, one of the podcasts whom I watch online brought up a good point that it would be a great service and a great way to pay tribute and respect to the late Chadwick Boseman. I mean, God rest his soul, by not recasting a new T'Challa with a different actor. I understand that there are other Black Panthers who have ruled the kingdom of Wakanda aside from T'Challa himself. So I think this other character who could serve as as a successor ruler to T'Challa would be the best solution in this type of circumstance. And from what I heard, now this is just a rumor, but I've heard that John David Washington is possibly going to be pitched in to fill in the role of T'Challa's successor in the
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Black.
Really?
John David Washington is a dude from Black Klansman, and
Yeah,
he's
Black Klansman,
he's the main character in Tenet.
Of course, he's
Yeah.
He's
Denzel's son.
Denzel's son.
If he's casted for the role, I'm all for it because I have
actually, yeah.
great acting does run in the family, and from what I've seen how I've seen his performance in Black Klansman, he can nail it.
Black Klansman was great.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah, and I hear good
great.
things about Tenet. It sucks that we can't see it.
If we ever
yet,
get
but
to watch it,
if we ever get to watch Tenet, yeah. So
I actually heard a lot by not watching these things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thought. Especially as someone, because Black Panther meant so much for the African American community.
Yeah.
I think right now it's too sore. It's like if you play like too soon. I think what they should do is they should definitely jump
wait
into
like
Black
at least
Panther
3 years. I would
Right.
say wait 3 years.
3 years
They
at
have
least.
to they have to retool it anyway. Because here's the thing: is it was stated that Boseman, who was still undergoing the procedures,
Right.
he said that in September he was gonna start working out again to be prepared for shooting in February or March.
Right.
They were gonna start that soon, but they can't do that no more.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead. But here's another thing I know. Chadwick Boseman revealed that he had cancer to Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige knew that Chadwick Boseman didn't have like the RDJ level contract where the Don Cheadle where it's just like, oh, let's just keep making movies forever into perpetuity. Kevin Feige knew that it's a possibility that Chadwick Boseman could die, within the decade. So I think they always left that open. I don't think it was an accident to introduce Black Panther with the death of his father. Like Black Panther opened technically with the death of the Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman was not the Black Panther. He was the son of the Black Panther. Then he died. T'Challa. T'Challa died. His father dies. And then in that movie, we see him become the Black Panther. When he's chasing down the car, that's his first official Black Panther activity.
Civil War.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think that was like an accident. They initially showed you the character as a mantle. It was like, this is not a guy. This is a title. So they showed you the passing of the torch with his introduction. And then I don't think it was also an accident to have Black Panther 1 all about someone trying to steal the Black Panther. Like Killmonger becoming the Black Panther further encouraged you to understand, do not get too attached to T'Challa. T'Challa is not the forever Black Panther. It's not like Captain America, where there's only ever been one. So you got this very, in hindsight, you get this very intentional hyper focusing on the fluidity of the title of Black Panther. So I think also what they did is they elevated Shuri, because Shuri sort of plays like what's the agent's name in 007, the one that gives them the gadgets?
Q?
Is that Q?
Yeah.
Right. Like
Q.
Shuri plays this Q character, but then I think very intentionally in Black Panther 1, she keeps being like, can I go with you? Can I help? So she's not just a Q. She's like a little kid that is like, I want to fill your shoes, big brother. I want to fill your shoes. And like she says that more than services the actual plot. So I think that was Feige being like building into the story. If he goes, Shuri has already laid the groundwork to be the Black Panther, which she has been in the comics after a tragic death of her brother. So I think it's a no-brainer from all the work they've already done. They've already left the breadcrumbs for Shuri upon his funeral. There's an attack. Well, so this, okay, all right. Let me tell you my theory.
Go ahead.
In the next Black Panther, they're going to have T'Challa in the movie. You're going to see T'Challa in the movie, because I know they've got a ton of extra footage. They're going to have him physically in the movie to draw in the crowds, of course. Then he's going to die, similar to how his father died in the first opening scenes. Then Shuri's going to be pissed off, like grief-stricken. and but she's not just gonna be grief stricken. She's gonna be rage stricken. She automatically becomes the new Black Panther, or maybe no. I think instead of having a trial, the M'Baku was going to be like, you got it, girl. You go. Get him. Like, it's too much of a learning curve for me to avenge T'Challa, for me to become the new Black Panther and learn. So you get it, okay? Temporarily. She temporarily becomes the Black Panther to avenge her brother and to stabilize the nation. Because remember, they just revealed themselves. And that's the reason why Black Panther gets killed, because they bring on these new enemies that know they're a target, okay? She becomes a Black Panther. The whole movie is about her avenging her brother, and then by the end of the movie, she maintains the title.
I will say, though, that good theory, by the way, Fred. I will say, though, that an article I read is kind of contrary to the one that you said just now, because the one I read said has like a statement from Chadwick Boseman's representative saying that he actually chose not to reveal his cancer to Marvel because he was confident that he would make it. So I'm not quite sure that Feige was prepared for this. Because that's the one I read is like.
I heard that too. That nobody on set knew. No one on set knew. But Feige
they said that no one in Marvel knew. Because again, he didn't want to reveal his cancer if he was going to make it through anyway. Because like he was confident that he was going to make it. Like of course, it was like a thing up in the air, like how long his treatment would. But like him personally,
I'm sure that was
he was confident. Like, and then like he saw no reason to reveal his personal history and all of this.
Well, hey, so guys, comment below because like there's like this. It's rumor, so it's conflicting.
Yeah.
Which rumor do you think is true? Did Kevin Feige, the head honcho, know that he had cancer, but he might pull through? And is that why, from my observation, there's sewn in all these seemingly needless like understandings that the Black Panther can die? Or do you think that's just part of the storyline and nobody knew?
Okay. I'll chime in here. The T'Chaka thing is straight from the comics, and I'm 200% sure Shuri was going to become the Black Panther at a certain point.
Yeah,
because that's how it was in the comics as well. And Marvel, one of the things that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing extremely well is building legacy characters. So you have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier taking over for Captain America. You have Natalie Portman playing the Jane Foster Thor, taking over from Chris Hemsworth Thor, and so on and so forth. Now they have like She-Hulk taking over from
Bruce Banner.
What's his? I was actually Mark Ruffalo. There we go.
Mark Ruffalo, right?
Mark Ruffalo, Hulk, and so on. So Shuri, 100% was in line. It's just I don't think they were prepared to like do that this early. So like I said in my Asian action actor video, I'll agree either way. Like if they choose to continue the story a bit more so it more organically transitions, thank you very much, Fred. Transitions Shuri to the Black Panther role like by the end of the second movie or whatever it is. Like again, like Wendell says, there's this rumor John David Washington is maybe being considered. I think it's too soon to consider anyone. But
other than Shuri,
they'll have to.
Yeah.
So
big time.
Or like Fred's theory that he just stated a while ago, like at the beginning of the movie, they do the thing from Civil War, and she's just the Black Panther the whole movie. Either way, I'll be fine with it because it's a rough situation either way.
Yeah.
And it's like this sort of
it's necessary. It's necessary for the characters to grieve on screen. You know, the same way at the end of Fast and Furious, where they grieved on screen.
And that's why I'm thinking that I'm not saying that they should like. Well, one of the things I was thinking about was they recast him so that there's an organic transition. It's not like a weird thing where I don't know, he dies and you just see the back of his head.
I know, Fred, you were mentioning earlier about Fast and the Furious being one example franchise of how they written off a character due to Paul Walker's off-screen death. However, we have to remember that in that particular franchise, Paul Walker's character was never officially mentioned of having been killed. They just basically had him.
He rode off in the sunset and retired. Also, Paul Walker shot half that movie already.
Yes.
When he died. So they had footage.
Yeah.
Here, T'Challa, they have like no new footage. So
well, you know what? I've got a better example, Noel, and I got an example that I think you'll vibe with even better than Paul Walker. Princess Leia. Princess Leia's death was actually made into an on-screen death, and then they used deep fake and they used extra footage, and they had a funeral on screen. I think this is such a big blow that like they know how to market. People watch that Star Wars to see Princess Leia's last appearance and to have a group funeral for her. You know?
Yeah.
And Wakanda's steeped in so much history. I think like a ceremonial funeral, one would be cathartic for the fans that like want to attend not just Chadwick Boseman's funeral, but Black Panther's funeral. And I think it would build a lot of world building to see a Wakandan funeral. Think about how many great like costumes and like, you know, in places within the world and cultural practices we can unveil that could help the story through a funeral.
You know, here's my thing with that though, because I actually watched Black Panther again just a few days ago. And I actually, if they do transition him out, I actually agree more with Wendell that he should be exiled instead. You know why? Because it is a big part of the Black Panther movie and the existing mythology of that other plane where all of the kings are. You can't have him die and then he's the only king that's not there whenever they revisit that. Or like
I think they got more footage than you guys think.
No, I don't think they have that for like all of the Black Panther movies that they plan to make. But what if they give Shuri her own trilogy, and then transition the character more, and then you can't just eliminate that whole part of the mythology, or you show it but then never show Chadwick Boseman.
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why that's not going to work. Okay, because all right, story wise, just within the story, without Chadwick Boseman and his unfortunate demise being considered, just the story. Black Panther was such an integral part of the Avengers, the last Avengers movie, as far as like him showing up. I mean, Wakanda was like ground zero for Thanos's like invasion, and then when they got dusted and they came back, the Wakandan forces were really like tipping the scale in terms of the battle. So I don't think in the story you could have T'Challa give up on that. Like, as long as he's alive, his character is such a heroic character that when they have the next like arc of like Galactus or whoever the next big bad is, it would be too hard to believe that T'Challa would be somewhere sipping a Mai Tai, being like, I already put my time in. Let the youngins handle it. Like, he would definitely, if he was still alive in that world, he'd be like, yo, you don't think they could use 2 Black Panthers? They ain't got an extra suit. Chadwick Boseman is still just sitting this one out. I think it would be too hard for people to believe if he was alive. And I think if they retire him to the if he dies, he goes to the plane, they can use deep fake and creative writing to just basically be like, Shuri's at peace and doesn't need to like see him anymore.
Yeah, so essentially rewriting that part of the mythology forever out.
No. He still would be in the plane. Shuri would still seek the ancestors. It's just you don't have to show him. It's like praying. After they showed you what the ethereal realm is, do they really have to show you like Shuri always going to like talk to her granddad or her dad or her brother? Like, she could just be like, I need to commune with the spirits. Cut the black, next part of the series. Because we've already seen what the plane looks like. We don't have to have Chadwick Boseman and then like her father pop up every time and be like, I am your father, blah, blah, blah. Here's like an African parable. They don't have to do that because it was so impactful the first time. She could just be like, I'm privately going to go pray. You guys already saw that. Give me some privacy. And then that's not going to be that hard to understand.
Either way, the point is, it's a rough situation, guys. That's why rough. It's like, for me, this is a very important topic because whichever route Kevin Feige and the rest of Marvel choose, it's not going to be easy. That's why I really vote for.
There's no right answers.
3 years and things like that. Because aside from giving the world time to mourn, you have to take that time to like figure things out.
Yeah, I think Marvel's insulating themselves from death because, as sad as it is to say, and knock on wood, this is not the last death. That's not the last death we'll see in the MCU because it's just so many characters. Like, statistically speaking,
and it's like it makes for drama for like the Iron Man snap.
Right. Right. So I think Marvel has written themselves into the increasing likelihood that beloved characters will die.